Exposed. The heartwarming journey of an incredible love between a millionaire and a driver. 30 days that changed everything. Alex swerved through the twisting streets of San Francisco, where every block told a story of hope and despair. He could see it all: the grand houses perched on the hills, where the elite thrived, and the tangled lives of those hustling to get by. At 30, he wore his heart on his sleeve, the weight of his mother's sacrifices driving him forward. She had given up everything for him, her dreams traded for his education. Values of hard work, loyalty, and community flowed through his veins, igniting a fire within him. But as he turned a corner, a shadow hovered over his thoughts. His mother's health was deteriorating, leaving him on the brink of devastation. That fateful afternoon, during an ordinary fare drop-off, destiny had other plans. Emma slid into the back seat, her designer purse spilling onto the floor, revealing a world of privilege. She was a 28-year-old heiress, forever lost under the glittering facade of her lavish life. "Can you take me to the Embarcadero?" she requested, her voice laced with an unshakable weariness. As they drove, their conversation danced like waves crashing against the rocks. Alex found himself captivated by Emma's honesty masked beneath superficial charm. She spoke of glamorous parties, but her laughter rang hollow, echoing the emptiness of her world. With each shared story, a connection blossomed, a lifeline thrown across the chaotic ocean of their lives. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Their conversations turned into late-night texts and spontaneous outings, leaving both excited and terrified. Alex's blue-collar friends raised eyebrows as he recounted tales of Emma's laughter over coffee. On her end, whispers danced around luxurious soirees, where her friends scrutinized their unusual bond. Deep down, they both questioned whether love could truly bridge the deep chasm carved by their social classes. Then came the bombshell. His mom's illness hit hard, reality crashing like a wave. Schedules blurred, and Alex found himself torn between the commitment to his family and the blossoming affection for Emma. The pressure mounted, and one evening as they walked along the waterfront, the weight of their worlds collided, exposing the vulnerability that both had kept hidden. At a charity gala, attending on Emma's family's behalf, Alex stumbled upon a hidden truth about the origins of her family's wealth, dark secrets that could shatter the world they built together. Silence fell around him. Decisions hung heavy in the air. Should he reveal what he knew, jeopardizing Emma's standing, or guard her from the truth while his own heart fractured? Tension filled the space between them, as their hearts beat in unison, echoing the tumult of their lives. Would love triumph over judgment? Or would it be a beautiful flame snuffed out by their fears? Alex found himself standing at the precipice of loyalty and love, his heart racing with uncertainty as the future of their connection teetered perilously, leaving a breathless silence in its wake. The evening of the gala turned into a blur for Alex. The soft sounds of laughter and clinking glasses surrounded him, but his mind was miles away. He could still see the look on Emma's face when he pulled her aside, sensing that something unsaid hung between them, an unaddressed tension that vibrated in the air. "What's wrong?" Emma had asked, her brow furrowing in concern. His heart raced as he considered how to share the truth, the one that could ruin everything. It's nothing," he lied, offering a smile that felt foreign on his lips. She didn't buy it. Every sense about her clued into his unease. But there was no time. The gala was in full swing, and he couldn't risk exposing the secrets that industry insiders whispered about her family. Would he protect her fragile world or pave the way for honesty? Each choice seemed like a road paved with regret. As the night wore on, the buzz of conversation wrapped around him, the elegant decor contrasting with the weight on his chest. Alex stood away from the crowd, nursing a glass of soda, feeling more like an outsider each passing minute. He watched Emma as she mingled, the glow of her laughter momentarily pulling him from his spiraling thoughts. Yet even in her smile he saw a mask that she wore so well. "Alex, you okay?" A voice cut through his fog. It was one of Emma's friends. a woman with sharp features who looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and judgment. Yeah, just enjoying the evening, he replied, but he could feel her scrutinizing him. Another piece of the invisible wall between him and Emma, the one constructed by wealth and status, loomed in the air. Deep down, the thrill of their connection warmed him, yet the doubt lingered. Was he enough? Could Emma ever fully step into his world? Or would she remain tangentially tied to the glitz that felt so foreign to him? The night dragged on, each moment filled with laughter that felt falsely crafted. When they finally found a moment to breathe together, he took a deep breath and turned to Emma. Can we talk? She looked at him, her eyes wide with intrigue, but there was a flicker of worry. Of course, is everything okay? Not wanting to scare her off, he hesitated. How could he tell her the truth without breaking her heart? There's just something I need to share. It involves us. Emma's expression changed, concern washing over her. Us? Can we go somewhere a bit quieter? Reluctantly, she nodded, her lips pressed into a thin line that betrayed deeper thoughts. They slipped out onto a balcony, the soft cool air wrapping around them. Below, the city sparkled, but his focus rested solely on her. Alex, what's on your mind? She asked, soft yet insistent. He looked down, taking a moment to gather his racing thoughts. This was at the pivot point. Do I protect her? Or do I risk it all for the sake of truth? I found out something about your family, he started. His voice nearly lost in the wind, but the tremor in his chest felt louder. Just then her phone buzzed incessantly in her purse, shattering the moment. Emma pulled it out, her expression changing as she read the message. The color drained from her face. What is it? He asked, dismay rushing over him. It's my father, he just had an accident. The world around them closed in. All thoughts of declarations, decisions, and revelations flew from his mind, replaced with a sinking dread. What they were facing now was bigger than them both, a reality that threatened to unravel everything they'd begun to build. As the sirens echoed in the distance, desperation clung to his chest. Would they be able to navigate this together, or was it too late? How would they handle the fallout? The chaos felt insurmountable, leaving only one question that loomed heavy in the silence. Could love survive when everything else was shattering around them? Emma's breath caught in her throat as she processed the message. The words blared louder than the sirens wailing in the distance. We need to go, she said, her voice shaking slightly. Alex nodded, instinctively stepping closer, wanting to shield her from the weight of the news. His heart raced not just from concern, but from the reality that their moment of honesty had been stolen away. He wanted to be the rock she needed, yet he felt adrift. Where is he? He asked as they began to move, her hand gripping his tightly. Just a few blocks from here. The hospital called, they need me. She didn't look back, her focus ahead like a runner chasing the finish line. Alex kept pace beside her, his mind a flurry of thoughts. Part of him wanted to turn back, to find a way to tell her secrets that never seemed right to keep. But there was no time to unravel the mess they both faced. As they rushed through the streets, the world blurred into colors and sounds. Emma's worry was palpable, her usually bright eyes clouded with fear. Alex wanted to reach out to comfort her, but every step felt like a weight dragging him down. We'll get through this, he finally managed, his voice steady, trying to reassure them both. At the hospital, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, distorting the warmth of their earlier moments. The atmosphere buzzed with hurried footsteps and whispered conversations. Emma's grip on Alex's hand tightened as they approached the reception. I'm here to see my father, Stephen Evans, she said, her tone sharp but quivering. The receptionist looked up, scanning her computer. Please take a seat. Someone will be with you shortly. Emma nodded curtly and sank onto the plastic chair, her posture tense. Alex sat beside her, feeling the unspoken weight of their situation. It struck him hard, this was real life now. I wish I had said something earlier, he finally said, unable to hold back the words. About your family, she turned to him, worry still etched on her face. What do you mean by that? This isn't the time, Alex. I know, he started, but his voice faltered. There's so much you don't know that could change things. You're still thinking about that? My father, my family. She shook her head, frustration seeping into her tone. We don't have time for your doubts right now. Alex swallowed hard. He didn't want to add to her burden, They sat in silence for what felt like an eternity, the ticking of the clock echoing, each second a reminder of the uncertainty ahead. Then a doctor stepped through the double doors, glancing around until he landed his eyes on Emma. Hope soared in her eyes for just a moment before it dulled under the weight of the situation. "Miss Evans?" The doctor started, and like a spell breaking, Emma stood, her breath shaky. "Yes?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm afraid your father sustained serious injuries. He is conscious, but we need to run more tests and stabilize him." Alex's heart sank. He felt out of place, trapped in someone else's storm while Emma's world crumbled. "Can I see him?" she asked immediately, her voice stronger now. "Yes, but only for a moment," the doctor replied, glancing at him. As Emma moved to follow the doctor, she hesitated. "Are you coming?" Her question struck him through the heart. Did she want him there? Did she need him there? He was scared of the truth, but he also feared losing her even more. "Yeah, I'll be right there," he assured, rushing to catch up with her as they entered the room. The sterile smell engulfed them. The sight of her father, pale and bandaged, laid bare the reality of a life so fragile. Alex's throat tightened. One misstep could change everything. He reached out cautiously, lightly touching Emma's back as they stepped closer to the bed. This moment of truth held a different kind of weight, one filled with raw emotion and deepening fears. As Emma reached for her father's hand, her eyes glistening, Alex felt the distance between them grow even wider. Was this the moment he should have spoken? Did he risk the truth for the sake of love when the future looked so uncertain? He took a breath and resolved to stay strong, not knowing if this was only the beginning of her struggles. But what Alex didn't yet realize was that the secrets of Emma's family were just the tip of the iceberg. Emma's heart raced as she took in the sight of her father, lying still but conscious. His face was pale, the machines around him beeping with a relentless rhythm that matched her anxiety. She tried to smile, but it faltered. She felt like a child trying to pretend everything was okay when the walls were crumbling down around her. "Dad," she whispered, squeezing his hand gently. He turned his head slightly, his eyes squinting as if the effort to focus was monumental. "Emma," he croaked, his voice strained. She forced herself to breathe deeply, trying to mask her panic. "What happened? How are you feeling?" "Like I've been hit by a truck," he said weakly, attempting a laugh that turned into a cough. Pain laced his words, and Emma's heart shattered a little more. "I'm here now," she said firmly, though her voice wavered. "I won't leave you. Promise." She looked back at Alex, who stood a little behind her. His expression was a mixture of concern and helplessness, and for a brief moment, she felt anger pulse through her. Did he know how to fix this? Wasn't he supposed to help? But she squashed that feeling just as it began, knowing that this wasn't about them. The doctor entered, breaking the fragile moment. "We'll need to run tests," he explained, scanning their worried faces. "Your father has some internal injuries we need to assess further. I assure you he is receiving the best care." Emma nodded, her grip on her father's hand squeezing tighter. She wanted to scream, wanted to shout at the universe for being so cruel, but all she could manage was a shaky nod. Alex stepped closer, leaning towards her. "Emma, we don't have to stay if you want some time alone now." She cut him off, an edge creeping into her voice. "I need you here. I don't know how to do this by myself." He flinched at her words, but they hung in the air, heavily filled with desperation and an acknowledgement of their complicated emotions. He moved to her side, their shoulders brushing. It felt like an unspoken promise. He would stay no matter how messy everything became. "Okay," he said softly. As the minutes dragged on, the reality set in. Emma's father might have been a tough businessman, but vulnerability radiated around him now, and the weight pressed down on her chest like a stone. What if he never fully recovered? The doctor returned after what felt like forever. "We're moving him to a room for monitoring. You can stay with him for a bit, but there is not much more we can do right now." Emma nodded hollowly, watching as the medical team wheeled her father past them. Each step he took further away felt like a step into the unknown. She faced Alex, frustration bubbling to the surface again. "I hate this. I'm scared, Alex. What am I supposed to do?" He paused, his eyes searching hers. "You fight," he said earnestly. "You fight for him, for yourself, and for whatever comes next." Her heart raced, Not just from fear but from an unexpected swell of hope. Could she really do this? Could they really find a way through the darkness they were facing? But in Emma's mind doubts loomed large. Answers remained obscured, hiding like the shadows creeping in. And as they moved to follow her father, a chilling thought crossed her mind. What other secrets lay lurking in her family's past? What truths were waiting to be uncovered? As they stepped into the room, the uncertainty loomed over them, vast and unyielding. Emma felt a chill as she walked into her father's new room, the fluorescent lights harsh against the bleakness that filled her heart. The machines beeped steadily, and though he was now on a different bed, it felt like a world away. Staring at the tubes and monitors connected to him, she felt small, unprepared for the weight of what was happening. "Dad," she called softly, stepping closer, her voice barely above a whisper. He turned his head slowly, now more pale than before, and managed a strain of a smile that broke her heart into a million pieces. Emma, the familiarity of his voice brought her back to memories of warmth, Sunday mornings, and a laughter that filled their home. Now it felt so distant, almost lost to time. "Is it bad?" she asked, her voice shaking as she clutched the edge of the bed. "It's complicated," he replied, breathing heavily. "You know me, always getting into trouble." She couldn't help but let a small smile slip, but the joy felt bittersweet. "You were always the one fixing everything. Now it's my turn to fix you." His eyes softened but then darkened with worry. "I don't want you to," he hesitated, like saying it out loud would make the situation more real. "You have your own life, Emma. Don't let this keep you from it." Tears prickled her eyes. "You're my life, Dad. I can't just walk away." A nurse entered and began adjusting the four-line. She gave Emma a supportive nod. Emma appreciated the gesture, but it felt like another reminder of the harsh reality they were in. "Dad, is there something you're not telling me?" she asked suddenly. She had sensed it in his eyes, a shadow lurking behind his usual confidence. His gaze dropped to the blanket. "There are things I've kept from you. Dark things." Her heart began to thump louder in her chest. "What kind of things?" He looked up at her, his expression grave. "Things about the business. The money. People involved." The fear shot through her. "Are you in danger?" He took a deep breath. "I've made mistakes, Emma. Sacrifices that affected you." Emma felt a rush of anger mixed with heartbreaking disappointment. How could he not tell her? How could he carry such burdens alone? "I need to know everything," she insisted, almost pleading. "Whatever it is, please don't shut me out." As the uncertainty weighed heavy, Alex shifted his weight, sensing the emotional tension. "Emma," he interjected gently, "maybe we should let your dad rest." "No." Her voice was sharp, and she saw the hurt flicker across Alex's features. "He needs to talk. I need to know." The shadows deepened in her father's eyes, and though Emma felt an urgency to know, she feared what truths might come to light. The churning inside her was suffocating, a mix of love, fear, and unresolved questions. "Just promise me you'll stay strong," he said softly, his voice barely a whisper, but it was laced with a plea. "I will," she said confidently, even as her mind spiraled with dread. As the minutes dragged on, Emma's heart ached with the weight of unanswered questions. Why had her father embedded these secrets deep within him? What was he shielding her from? Were these shadows the reason he was lying in that bed, fighting for his life? And just when she felt like she was about to break, a familiar face appeared at the doorway, a hand clutching a file. It was a figure from her father's business life, someone who could change everything. What could he possibly have to reveal? Emma felt the air shift around her. The darkness was closing in, and with it came the hope of answers. Would she be ready for whatever came next? The figure stepped inside, his expression unreadable as he approached the bed. Emma's heart raced as she recognized him. It was Frank, one of her father's old colleagues, and a man who had helped build the foundation of their family's business. His presence seemed like a storm cloud looming above. "Emma," he greeted her, his voice gruff but carrying a hint of warmth. "I'm sorry to come in like this, but we need to talk." Her father's eyes flickered with apprehension. "Frank, not now." "No, it can't wait," Frank insisted, glancing back at the door as if scanning for potential eavesdroppers. "There are things you don't know, things that could help you understand." Emma straightened up, her grip tightening around the bedrail. "What things?" Frank hesitated, the weight of unspoken words heavy in the air. It's about the money, the troubles your father's been involved in, the choices he made to protect you. What kind of choices? Emma pressed, her voice sharpening with urgency. She felt the distance between them shrink as her father shifted uncomfortably, clearly torn between wanting to shield her and needing to confront the truth. He exchanged a fleeting look with her father. There are people who want what he built. They don't care who gets hurt. Your dad made deals to keep you safe, but it comes with its own dangers. Emma's stomach dropped. Are you saying he's in danger now? Because of his past? It's more complicated than that, Frank said, running a hand through his hair in act of frustration. He was forced into a corner, and he had to make decisions that compromised his safety. Trust me, I saw it all happen. Emma's breath came quicker, feeling the air thicken with this revelation. Her father was a man who always seemed so untouchable, so in control. To hear Frank break him down like this, it was like pulling the ground out from under her. Why didn't you tell me? Emma turned to her father, anger bubbling to the surface. Why carry this all alone? Is this why you've been sick? His gaze fell again, shame reflected in his features. I thought I could protect you by keeping it away from you. To give you a normal life. Frank stepped closer, his voice steady but gentle. Sometimes trying to protect someone only puts them in more danger. You deserve to know, Emma. The heaviness inside her swelled. It was one thing to grapple with her father's ill health, but it was another to realize the depth of his struggles. So what do we do? Her father looked weary, weighed down by burdens both visible and hidden. But as his gaze met hers, determination sparked in his eyes. We fight. Emma's heart pounded, a mix of fear and courage swelling within her. Together? Together, he affirmed, voice steadying. Just as Emma felt a flicker of resolve igniting, Frank's expression shifted, his brow furrowing. But be careful. They won't take this lying down. They'll come for you both if they catch wind of this. What do you mean? Emma felt panic rise again, clutching her father's hand tighter. Who are they? Frank swallowed hard, his usual stoic demeanor cracking. I can't say. Not yet. But you must be prepared for whatever comes next. As they exchanged tense glances filled with unspoken fears and unsteady hopes, a new realization dawned on Emma. Secrets were no longer just words to be held close. They were threats lying in wait. With unyielding determination, she turned to Frank. We need a plan right now. But just as those words left her mouth, the machines around the room beeped louder, as if echoing the heartbeat of their new reality. Each beep signaling time slipping away. Would they have the strength to face whatever was lurking in the shadows? Or would the weight of these truths push them further apart? The sterile room pulsed with tension. Emma clenched her teeth, fighting to keep the tears from spilling out. The urgency of the situation wrapped around her like a vice. Frank's face darkened as he glanced back to the door, the stakes of their conversation wrapping tighter around them. What do you know, Frank? She insisted, her voice catching just a little. I need to understand what's going on. Let us move, Frank said suddenly, his tone shifting as he stepped toward the window, peeking out as if the air was thick with danger. We can't talk here. Too many ears. Follow me. Emma traded a worried glance with her father. He nodded, a weary acceptance of the reality they now faced together. They left the room, navigating the hospital halls with hurried steps, each one echoing loudly like warning bells in Emma's heart. They reached a small break room, a windowless space cluttered with chairs and coffee stains. Frank closed the door and turned to them, his demeanor serious. Listen, this is a lot to take in, but the people after your father aren't just after the business. They want to destroy everything he built, not just financially but personally. They see you as a threat. Emma felt like she was standing on shaking ground. What do you mean? She whispered, the air in the room suddenly stifling. Your father made enemies, Frank said, his urgency lingering in the shaky vibrations of his voice. He's tangled with some dangerous individuals, people in the shadows who felt backed into a corner themselves. And now? They'll stop at nothing to come after you. If they think damaging his family will break him, they'll do it. Her father looked worse than she had ever seen him. He seemed grayer, tired beyond his years, and Emma felt a swell of protectiveness rise within her. The barrier they maintained, father and daughter side by side, began to crack as the real fight of their lives loomed on the horizon. "Then what do we do?" she asked, her voice trembling, but the fire within her only blazed brighter. Frank took a breath, steadying himself. "We need to get you both somewhere safe. I have a few spots in mind, places where they can't find you." He paused, his gaze shifting between them. "But we'll need to act fast. They'll be watching, waiting for any slip." Her father nodded, determination slowly replacing the fear in his eyes. "I want to hide. Not again. Not from them. Do you think this will stop them?" Emma said, feeling the weight of each word. "They already know how I fit into this, how important I am." Frank grimaced. "That's what complicates this. You're not just a pawn, you're a target now. If they think they can remove you from the equation." Emma's stomach twisted. "So what, we just run?" "It's not just running. It's fighting back." Frank took a step closer, the urgency in his eyes turning fierce. "We take back what's ours, but it means you need to trust us." Emma's heart raced, the desperation coursing through her veins. She turned to her father, who gave her a nod of reassurance. It was a notion of unyielding love, a silent promise that they would move forward together. "Okay, Frank," she breathed, a spark of courage igniting within her. "Let us fight." As they began to formulate their next move, the enormity of what lay ahead unfolded like a looming shadow over them. Emma could feel the heaviness in her chest, but also something else, a flicker of resolve, a sense of purpose. "Keep your phone close," Frank warned, his voice softening slightly. "Things might get messy, and I want to be able to protect you every moment." "What do I do if?" Before she could finish her sentence, the break room door slammed open. A nurse stood there, her expression shocked. "What's going on?" "I heard commotion." Emma's heart plummeted. Had they already been discovered? With a glance at Frank, she knew they were on the edge of something monumental. But would they be able to forge their path before it was too late? As uncertainty lingered in the air, the question burned in Emma's mind. How far would they really go to fight for their future? Frank wasted no time. He stepped forward, his body blocking the door. "It's nothing, just a misunderstanding. We're fine here," he said, his voice steady but authoritative. The nurse's eyes darted between Frank and the two of them, confusion etched in her features. "You're not fine. You're clearly upset. Is this about Mr. Holland?" Emma swallowed hard. The mention of her father's name felt like a lightning bolt, illuminating the shadows of doubt. "We're just trying to make sense of everything," she said carefully, trying to maintain a calm facade. The nurse hesitated, her gaze lingering on Emma's father, who had turned a shade paler. "Yes, not okay. Shouldn't you be resting? I could call someone if—" "No," Mr. Holland interjected. His voice was stronger now, a wave of newfound clarity washing over him. "There are things we need to do, things that can't wait. I appreciate your concern, but we can handle this." The nurse studied him closely, her lips pursing as if she sensed something deeper was at play. "If there's anything you need, I'll be fine," he insisted, his eyes catching Emma's. A flicker of the man he used to be shone through the storm of uncertainty. With a reluctant nod, the nurse backed away slowly, but Emma could see doubt lingering in her eyes. The moment the door clicked shut, the weight returned like lead, pressing down on her heart. "Here's the plan," Frank said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "We'll leave the hospital as soon as possible. We can take my car, it's discreet. I'll drive you to my place first, then we can regroup and figure out our next move." "What if they follow us?" Emma asked, the fear creeping back. "That's why we act like we're not worried. We'll keep it cool." Emma nodded, but the doubt lingered. Would they really be safe? Each tick of the clock felt like a countdown to chaos. "Let us reach out to a few more allies," Frank suggested. "I have contacts who can help secure a safe house nearby. They might even have information on who we're dealing with." Her father rubbed his temples, exhaustion overcoming him. "And if they get to you first? I see the danger too great?" "No," Frank interrupted, his eyes ablaze with conviction. "We've got to take the fight to them. Sitting here won't change a thing." Emma felt an adrenaline rush at his words. There was power in taking control, a flicker of hope igniting within her. "Okay, so we prepare then. We gather information and make a plan." "Exactly," Frank said, adrenaline coursing through him. "But we have to do it fast." While they strategized, the atmosphere thickened with unspoken tension. Thoughts of safety were overshadowed by a greater fear. Betrayal lurking in the shadows. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. What about other family members? Should we tell them? Emma suggested carefully. No, keeping things under wraps is essential right now. The less they know, the safer they are, her father said, desperation creeping back into his tone. From somewhere deep inside, she felt a fierce protectiveness surge. But they deserve to know. They can help us fight. Frank met her eyes then. Emma, this isn't just about fighting. It's about survival. We need to protect everyone we can, starting with you. Trust me. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed on the table. The tension in the air thickened, every breath feeling like it counted toward something monumental. She reached for it, and the moment she saw the caller ID, her heart dropped. It was her mother's number. Should I answer it? She asked quietly, glancing between them. Yes, Frank urged, his voice low but insistent. But be cautious. With trembling fingers, Emma pressed answer, anxiety tightening her throat. Mom. The voice on the other end was fraught with urgency. Emma, I need you to come home. It's important. I can't explain over the phone. The room spun around her, and dread settled in the pit of her stomach. What's going on? Just trust me, come home now. And as uncertainty loomed heavy like storm clouds overhead, Emma faced a choice that could change everything. Did she stay the fight unyielding at her doorstep or heed her mother's call? What lay on the other side of that decision could shape their lives forever. Emma's heart raced as she held the phone to her ear. Her mother's urgent voice haunted her thoughts, tugging her deeper into a whirlpool of uncertainty. Come home now. The words echoed, amplifying the weight on her shoulders. She glanced at Frank and her father, who were silently waiting for her response. What do I do? She whispered, panic surging. Frank stepped closer, his brow furrowed with concern. If your mother is calling you like this, it means she is scared. There might be something happening we don't know. But what if it's a trap? Emma countered. What if it's part of what we're trying to escape? Mr. Holland gripped the edge of his hospital bed, drawing in a deep breath. We need to consider every angle. If your mom is truly in danger, we can't just ignore her. But we need to be smart about it. Emma's thoughts raced. The choice loomed ahead, clear-cut yet so complicated. She could feel the tension in the air, heavy and suffocating. We're still trying to understand what is happening. We need to stick together, she said, though her voice trembled with doubt. Remember, Emma, Frank said softly. You're not alone. No matter what you decide, we'll support you. Yes, she murmured. The warmth in his voice was a bittersweet reassurance, yet it did little to calm the storm inside her. Finally, she inhaled deeply, channeling her racing thoughts into a single fragile thought. I need to go. I can't just leave her hanging. Are you sure? Frank asked, concern etched on his face. I have to be, she replied, her chin slightly lifting in determination. But if I go, I need you both to stay close, ready to act if I need help. Mr. Holland nodded, his expression graver than ever. Just be careful, Emma. Trust your instincts above all else. With the decision made, Emma hung up the phone and grabbed her jacket. As she glanced back at the two of them, her heart pounded louder than before. The faint whir of the hospital machines faded into the background, replaced by the sound of her resolve to protect her family. Frank led the way out of the room, their footsteps echoing in the sterile hallway. Every nurse and doctor they passed seemed to blend into the white walls, their concerns and busy lives a distant echo. Emma's mind was now focused solely on reaching home. The car ride felt like a blur they navigated through the evening air, shadows lengthening with the sun dipping low. She wanted to believe that her mother would have answers, that maybe she'd uncover fragments of the truth in the familiar comforts of home. But doubt gnawed at the edges of that hope. As they pulled up in front of her childhood home, the ancient oak tree stood tall as ever, its leaves whispering secrets in the wind. Stepping out of the car felt nostalgic, yet daunting. The house had its own heartbeat, one she knew well but felt estranged from, as if years had slipped between her fingers. Emma reached for the front door but hesitated. What if she didn't mean it? What if I'm walking into a trap? Stay alert, Frank said firmly, standing beside her. I'll keep an eye out. Just remember, we'll figure this out together. With a nod of determination, she gripped the doorknob and twisted. The door creaked open, revealing the dim light of the foyer. "Mom," she called cautiously, stepping inside. Just then the unmistakable sound of shuffling feet reached her ears. A silhouette appeared in the shadows, and her breath caught in her throat. "Emma, is that you?" The familiar voice wrapped around her. Yet what lay behind it felt laden with something more than just familiarity. As her mother stepped into view, Emma's heart sank. "What's going on? Everything is worse than I thought," her mother began, her eyes wide with fear. And as the darkness inched closer, Emma sensed that the fight was far from over. What lay ahead would unravel truths she'd never expected. They were being pulled deeper into a danger that would test their very bonds. But would they emerge from this together, or would the truth tear them apart? Emma's heart raced as her mother's face flickered into focus, her anxious eyes brimming with unspoken fears. "Mom, what's wrong?" Straining to keep her voice steady, Emma stepped closer, sensing the palpable tension in the room. "You called me home. You said it was urgent." Her mother shook her head, lashes trembling. I thought they were coming for us. But it's worse than that, they're already here." "What do you mean?" Emma felt a chill spread through her. The shadows deepened in the corners of the room, malign senses prickling at her spine. Her father and Frank stepped in behind her, their expressions mirroring her rising terror. Before they could voice their concerns, her mother rushed forward, gripping Emma's shoulders. "I've kept something from you, something that could endanger us all. There are people, dangerous people, who want your father's empire. They won't stop until they destroy everything." "What are you talking about?" Emma asked, her voice breaking. Her heart hammered against her ribcage, each beat pounding urgency into her ears. "Just tell me." With a shaky breath, her mother steadied herself. "Your father made deals, dark deals that put our family at risk. I thought if I kept quiet you wouldn't have to bear this burden. But it won't end, Emma. They want everything, including you." "I'm not a pawn in their game," Emma shot back, feeling flame erupt inside her. "I will not hide. We have to confront this." The tension escalated, her mother's face reddening in marshaled anger. "Confronting it could cost you everything. I won't let them take you away from me." "Not again." Emma stepped back, hurt suffusing her voice. "What do you mean again?" Her mother faltered, glancing at her father. The fatigue in his eyes mirrored the weight of his regret. "You need to understand that we're running out of time," he rasped. "They already see you as a threat. But we can't run forever. We have to fight back." Emma felt steam rise inside, her hands growing clammy with determination. "We have to take control of our story." "That's exactly what Frank said," her mother hissed. "But darling, sometimes fighting is not the answer. Sometimes staying hidden is survival." "Hidden? You mean hiding in fear?" Emma's voice cracked, the love she felt for her mother battling with the frustration of silence that had held them captive for too long. "I've lost enough already. I can't let them snuff out our freedom." Her father squeezed her hand, willing her to listen. "Emma, we need to be smart. Rising to meet them head-on could be the end of us." Tension filled the air like electricity. Frank glanced out the window, narrowing his eyes. "He's right, but if we don't act soon we won't have the luxury of planning. We need a strategy, gather what allies we can trust." Emma felt a wave of heat race through her. "We build a defense. Expose the truth. We can take back control." Her mother tensed. "What good will that do if they catch wind of our plans? We could be putting ourselves in even more danger." "Mom, are you really going to let fear silence us?" Emma challenged, heart pounding with unyielding courage. "Don't you want to fight for what's ours? I can't lose you both the way I lost my childhood." "Not like this." For a moment silence reigned. The shadows held their breath as they all looked at one another. Finally, Emma's mother, defeated by the fire in her daughter's eyes, nodded slowly. "You're right. If it comes to that, I'd rather go down fighting. But let us be careful." "Then we put together our forces," Edward said firmly. "We contact anyone who can help. We cannot let fear dictate our actions." As the path to confrontation began to crystallize, Emma felt an exhilarating rush. Her family were finally stepping into the light. Their hearts would face the storm together. They gathered around the kitchen table, exchanging vital information and strategies. Frank laid out a plan, intertwining their goals, forging an unbreakable line of communication. As they mapped their steps forward, Each decision felt like stepping stones through the fog of uncertainty. And while new shadows loomed, there was comfort in solidarity. Sparked by determination, laughter echoed through the once quiet room, breathing life back into their hearts. Before long, everyone shared a sense of purpose, a burning belief that they could reclaim what was theirs. A plan began to unfold, hope igniting deep within them. Emma felt freedom's urgency brush against her, promising to cut through the chaos. They were fighters, creators of their destiny. The path ahead was fraught with potential peril, but Emma and her family would not shy away. They would rise together, inspiring each other to never retreat from the fight waiting just around the corner. Was this the fated moment that love would weave through their tangled lives? Or would tragedy strike, revealing that shadows loomed larger than they ever imagined? And as they stepped out into the brightness of a new dawn, Emma felt a glimmer of confidence, the heart of a warrior beating in sync with her father and her mother. United at last, they were ready to battle not just for their family, but for the future they longed to reclaim. If you believe in the power of unity and truth, now is the time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that take you beyond the ordinary. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, each click counts. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't keep this inspiration to yourself. You need to support the channel in this moment. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of standing together.